Preparation is playing, so hey, we might as well start rolling solo. Hello, welcome to Rolling Solo. I'm Paul, your humble host. This is a Daggerheart solo actual play streaming show. I'm Paul. I'm going to be your game master and player as we have been following the adventures of one Ariane Chopin as she travels across the world of Soleia. But before we get started, I feel like it's always important to let you know that this product is adapted from or based on content created and owned by Darrington Press, Daggerheart Open Beta Materials, Darrington Press LLC, available at daggerheart.com. So, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and begin. Last we left off, Ariane Chopin, the Elven Guardian, in the company of the attuned Wanderborne ranger Lauren Butler, had been traveling, and let's bring up a map here. They are attempting to travel from the east, the easternmost point that I have marked there, which is the city of Sprin in the kingdom of Kolbrá. Their goal is to travel the 481 miles over to the town of Saltmarsh. I want to say Saltmarsh, let me see. Saltwatch. And then from Saltwatch, they will be traveling the next leg of their journey down to the town of Snowmahal. Snowmahal? Why are they doing this, you wonder? Well, I will tell you. They are doing this because there is a war happening between the Haldor theocracy to the west and the kingdom of Kolbrá to the east. Our heroines are attempting to get behind enemy lines to travel into the Haldor theocracy and get to the root of a mystery. The mystery is, why have the Haldorans started this war now? Why not sooner? Why not later? What is going on in Haldor? Normally, the attuned would kind of know what's going on in Haldor because as an organization, they are made up of fungal and other people with the ability to become attuned to the mycelial network. And so they have information about everything that is happening all across the continent of Yeben. But there is a dead spot in the Haldor theocracy. And it is to this dead spot that we are traveling. To find out, why has the network gone dark? And does this have anything to do with the war? The assumption is that probably it does. And so Ariane was recruited to go on this mission and leave the retinue of the Princess Kolbrá, Einar's daughter, who remains back in Sprin, attempting to get politics settled between the Kingdom of Kolbrá and her own home, the Kingdom of Ashes, so that they can form a political alliance in order to fight off that threat from the theocracy. This alliance was put into serious question when the Prince of Kolbrá, who Kolbrá was supposed to marry to cement the alliance, was in fact assassinated. He was assassinated by mysterious forces who may and or may not be working in service of Haldor from within Ashes itself. We open in a forest. It's a beautiful forest, tall trees with their kind of purplish leaves that are common in this part of the world, sprawling branches. We're at the headwaters of the Bear Peak River. We have some questions about the area at the headwaters of the Bear Peak River, and I guess we will go ahead and use our oracle to figure out the answer to some of these questions. Question number 1 would be, and here's my hope die. And we'll go with this guy for fear this time. Question number 1, is there a village or hamlet at the headwaters of the Bear Peak River? There isn't one on the map, but not everything is on here. Alright, so that is a 19 with hope. So, yes. And what else do we know about this place? Yes, there's a village, and you know what? I need to modify this so that I need to have something that I can add to my ands. So let's look at our other rule sets here real quick. I'll just have a look there. And I'm going to make a chaos roll. So what do we think? So I'm going to get a chaos roll for our and. And what's our chaos level here? Our chaos level here is pretty low. I think that we got a carriage ride from down to the town of Eigenfall, which saved us a couple of days. We've been marching for a couple of days. We're at this village. Let's say the chaos level is, let's call it a D6. Or let's go for a D8. We'll just drop straight in the middle. We'll do a D8 chaos roll, and let's see what happens. So we'll do a D8 chaos roll. Here's our D8. 1. So yes and nothing. That was a lot to get to nothing. So our scene will, as it were, happen as we planned it, which would be great had I planned a scene. So we are sitting at this lunch. There's we got a hamlet that's in this place. Nothing else much is happening. We are sitting by a well. There's a small village in the forest underneath the purple leaves here at around lunchtime. It is the 14th of late spring. We have been on the road for 8 days, having left on the 6th of late spring. So there's a village. They're sitting I'll say they're essentially sitting on their packs near the well in the center of the village. Lauren is going to be tuning into the network. And so as we watch, we see the tendrils, Lauren's got their hand on the ground, and we see, we zoom in a bit, and we can see these tendrils that are extended into the earth kind of withdraw up. Or not even withdraw up. The tendrils break off. She removes her hand. You can see the tendrils kind of stretch and break. She will pull her hand back, their hand back, and we can see these tendrils break off and then sort of return to the soil and sink in. And so what will Lauren report? So the first question is, how is the army of Karaz doing right now? Last time we checked in, they were holding the Olhaldorns, who also have about 800 miles of marching to do. They were holding them at Dreckenpost, and they had not advanced. And so the question is, will they continue to hold them? I'm going to do a roll for the army, and this is going to be a hope and fear roll. So I'm going to give... Now myself, I have fear. This is Sprin's hope. So if they roll with hope, they get a hope. If they roll with fear, I get a fear. And so the question is, and we're going to call this a DC 15 to continue to delay the army of Olhaldor. Less than a 15, they suffer a setback. All right. So that's a 9. That's an 8. So that is a 17. It is a 17 with hope. So they will get a hope. Let's go ahead and put a box there. We'll say that just like a character, they're going to maximize. I will maximize them at 3 hope. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll give them the same amount of hope as a character, and we'll kind of treat the military of Karaz as sort of a character. We'll develop that character as we go a little bit later, but I think that's probably the best way to do this. So they're holding. So the invaders do not get to advance on their countdown. So Lauren, advises, they have this conversation. Well, I think things still seem to be doing well back at the war seems to be going well. They seem to be holding the Olhaldorns for the moment. They have made some advancements, but they're basically having trouble getting their army out of Dreckenpost. So that is good news, and quite happy to hear that. The Alliance, your pal Kolbrá, is going to roll presence. That's what Kolbrá is going to do. So let me bring up her character sheet real quick. Kolbrá, Armor's daughter. There you are. So Kolbrá is going to roll. She's going to roll presence. She gets a +2 on this. She's going to roll to push negotiations forward and bring Ashes into the fight. This is also a 15. She gets a +2. So there's an 8 and a 1. +2. Well, the good news is she gets a hope. The bad news is that she fails her roll. So it's an 8 and a 1 +2. It's 9, 10, 11. So the DC at 15. This is a failure. It seems like Kolbrá continues to be looked upon with suspicion in the court of Karaz. She's maintaining her general stance, but she is tough. She will make her own way, I am certain. We're going to... Let's see. So that's actually basically... so what happens to end this scene? We absolutely need something that happens to make us move on. So, well, we already rolled that nothing happens in this scene beyond what we had initially set up. So my initial setup for this scene was lunch. Nothing happened that wasn't lunch because we rolled low. And so we will continue with just conversation. Curious, how did you become a member of the Attuned? How did you come upon this job that you had? That's a... I was, I guess, raised to it. You may have noticed I'm not quite like most of the other fungal. I don't hold together well. And they were kind of able to finance all of this. And they gesture to their kind of exoskeleton structure gantry that kind of holds them together. I think I would have fallen back into the soil had it not been for them, but I've always been tuned in to both the network and to the land and world around me. How about you? What brings you up here? Marta. Ah. Well, that's interesting. It was my uncle. He was... it is a long story, but suffice it to say that I was a bodyguard, and I have been well, I was I felt exiled, but I suppose I exiled myself from my own land. Why would you do a damn fool thing like that for? That is an excellent question, and honestly, I do not know. I think that I felt like I deserved it, perhaps, but you know, these many weeks later, it seems, with all that has happened, it seems silly. But it also seems like the right thing that brought me to the right place. Well, here's to that. Let's get the go on. And they will pack up and get moving. And we will walk for another 4 days. 4 more days gets us... 1, 2, 3, 4. So we won't advance that tracker. 1, 2, 3, 4 gets us just into the forest. So we are stopped again. Question is there? A village or a hamlet in the place where they are stopping for lunch today? Yes, there is. And nothing. And nothing. Well, this is the problem. When you leave it to the dice, this is how you end up. So, okay, so that's what happens when you leave it to the dice. Nothing happens. We again get the same scene, same withdrawal, same thing. Let's find out. How's our army doing? Our army is just at a 15 with hope. So they are going to be just holding on. How's Kolbrá doing? Same DC. She gets a +2. She has had a bit of a breakthrough, and she gets another hope. Rolling good. I have some good news. It seems that your friend, Kolbrá, has managed to convince, the princess has managed to convince them that they are, she is on their side. So I guess that's good, if she is. But of course it is, and of course she is. I knew that she would be able to figure it out. She is a very resourceful woman. You know, I've been picking up on a little something the last couple of days here. You got anything going on there between you and this princess? Of course not. I was her bodyguard. My job was to protect her from danger. It would be very inappropriate to develop any kind of feelings under those circumstances. Although, if I am honest, she did not need so much bodyguarding as one would think to look at her. She's a very powerful magic. Oh, I see. So, very resourceful, powerful. Yes. Strong. She has overcome much in her life. I think that she has managed to take what some people would see as a weakness. She has allowed it to forge her into a strong person. So, resourceful, strong, and passionate. She believes very deeply in her country. She is a warrior, both on the field of battle. I have seen her destroy enemies with a single push of her hand, and also within the council chamber, as you have seen, she is able to negotiate her way out of this difficult situation. She is a quite brilliant person. I'll see. So, strong, resourceful, smart. I haven't seen her. What's she look like? Oh, at first you are uncertain. She almost hides herself entirely, but when she looks up she has a very good features, and when you see her smile, you see that while she hides it quite well, she is actually quite a no. the princess does not end up with the bodyguard. That is just simply not how these things happen. Understandable. Well, that's about all we got for let's get on. If we keep it hiking, make some good miles today, we can be in Saltwatch 2 days time. And so we will continue marching. And indeed, in 2 days, so let's go ahead and make a note here. We have 2 days in Saltwatch. Okay, so we're going to call it there. That's about all we have time for today. We will open up in the town of Saltwatch. I was really hoping to have some complications, but you know, the dice are just not with me today. Or rather, the dice are unfortunately with the player part and not with the GM part. You know, if this keeps up, it's going to be like, well, and they walk to the adventure and they find everything they need to find, and maybe I need to start asking better questions. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget that, you know, if your heart moves you, and I will check to make sure that this is still true, you can probably get some stuff at my Etsy shop. And you know, keep rolling.